Ciao, travelers, and welcome to our episode. We are talking about coldest capital cities. Um, my birthday was last month, and on my birthday weekend, there was a snowstorm. This also happened when I was 30, and it happened on my 19th. So, surprises, surprises. So, we've been having a cold and snowier winter. It does look like it's going to warm up a little. So, I was like, what a better time to talk about countries and capitals that have the coldest temperatures on Earth. And just to clarify, that doesn't mean that they never get out of cold. You know, a lot of them do have warm summers. Some of them have really hot summers because of the continental environment. So just a little side note. Okay, so before we get in, let's do some trivia. What is the capital of Zambia? That's in Africa. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the answer is Lusaka. Now, I'm going here twice next year, or this year actually. Escargot are a delicacy of which country? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that is France. I do love that. And which dance is celebrated in an annual festival held in Buenos Aires, Argentina? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it is the tango. All right, so let's get into it. So we are going to do a tour of the coldest capital cities in the world and some interesting facts about it. So the first one is a country I really want to go to, Mongolia. Most of the countries I talk about, I want to go to. Ulaanbaatar. So this is the coldest capital city. So again, we're focused on capital cities. Siberia has the coldest cities, but we're talking about capital cities. All right, it's widely considered the national capital on Earth by average annual temperature to be the coldest. Winters are not just cold, they're punishing. Temperatures regularly plunge below 20 degrees Fahrenheit or negative 29 degrees Celsius, and it's not unusual for them to see negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit and negative 40 degrees Celsius during brutal cold snaps. Fun fact, when it gets that cold, Celsius and Fahrenheit are pretty much the same. Ulaanbaatar sits high above sea level, around 4,400 feet, and is surrounded by mountains that trap cold air in the valley. So things that affect temperature, one big thing is elevation and the proximity or lack of location near water. Altitude affects it, and water, like oceans, modifies the temperatures. So Ulaanbaatar is not only high, it's also very far from the ocean. Add in a Siberian air masses sweeping southward, and you get a city that spends months locked in ice. From November through March, winter dominates everything. But here's the thing, life doesn't stop. Markets stay open, kids go to school, traffic still clogs the streets. Many residents live in traditional tents called yurts. It's spelled yurts, I don't know why that's like that. On the city's outskirts, heated by coal stoves that burn through the long winter. And I will say this, humans we are very resilient. So it's been very cold lately, and I mean very cold, like lows at 5 degrees and highs at 17, 18, and today was a high of 35. It's like, oh wow, it feels warm. So you really do adjust to your environment. And then I never thought I was saying, wow, 35 is warm, but there you go. The cold shapes architecture, clothing, and culture. In Ulaanbaatar, winter isn't a season, it's a defining force. So the big thing that keeps Ulaanbaatar and the next country is that it's a continental climate. Continental, hearing the word continent, it's very far removed from the ocean and any warming or cooling that comes from that ocean. So cold lies on the landmass, and if there's snow, and it just spreads and spreads, and without a modifying thing like an ocean, usually the oceans are warmer than the land, especially in winter, and that keeps it very cold. Like here in New Jersey, it could be 5 degrees out, but the ocean is currently 38 degrees. So it is still warmer than the land. So areas closer to the coast usually have a warmer temperature. I'm sorry about that little nudge, but Lola was just by my lamp. Okay, so next we're going to Astana, Kazakhstan. Like I feel like Kazakhstan comes up in so many things, so I want to go there too. And I still haven't been to that Kazakh restaurant. Someone's downstairs that I want them to know I want to go. All right, so if Ulaanbaatar is raw and mountainous, Astana is open and exposed. Sitting on the vast Kazakh steppes, so that's a grassland, very large grassland, this capital has nothing blocking the wind. And the wind matters. Winter temperatures frequently drop below 0 degrees Fahrenheit or negative 18 degrees Celsius, and fierce gusts make it feel much worse. Astana holds the distinction of being one of the coldest capital cities in the world with long, harsh winters lasting nearly half a year. So if you do remember my Stan episode, it's a very cool futuristic city, and snow covers it. The glass tower, sharp edges, and metallic domes really give it a cool feel year-round, but in the winter as well. So what makes Astana's cold especially intense is the continental climate. Being far from any ocean means there's nothing to moderate the temperature. Summers can be hot, but the winters swing hard in the opposite direction. It's a city built on extremes. So the duality of that is in the summer, it gets very hot because again, land heats up quicker than water. So it's a city of extremes. It's Lola making noise over there. So now we're going into Eastern Europe, into Moscow, Russia. And as I mentioned before, Moscow isn't the coldest city in Russia. That title belongs to places far deeper in Siberia. But as a capital, it definitely earns a spot on the list. So winters are long, gray, and heavy with snow. Average January temperatures hover around 18 degrees Fahrenheit, which sounds like a heat wave compared to the other two places, but cold waves can drive it lower. Snow transformed Moscow into something almost cinematic. The onion domes of St. Basil's, Basil, it's food, Cathedral look even more dramatic under fresh snowfall. The Moskova River can freeze, parks turn into cross-country ski routes, ice skating rinks pop up across the city. So again, these cities acclimate, and you could do things outside in these cities because they're built for the cold. Unlike Ulaanbaatar, Astana, Moscow's cold is cushioned by its massive infrastructure. The city's famous metro system runs deep underground, warm and efficient. And if you look online, maybe I'll put a picture up here. If you're watching on YouTube, Moscow has some of the most beautiful metro stations, gorgeously decorated. They were decorated during the Soviet era, but it's like an art gallery in there. So heating systems are centralized and powerful. It's a city that knows winter well and handles it very well. So now we're heading over. Honestly, like we've gone from Mongolia, went over to Kazakhstan, went over to Russia, and now we're heading over into Helsinki. Now these are all in the Northern Hemisphere, but I want to remind people that the Southern Hemisphere does get cold too, but where the capitals are located are so far from the South Pole that these cities are not listed, capital cities. So Helsinki sits along the Baltic Sea, which actually keeps it slightly milder than inland cities at the same latitude. Still, don't let that fool you. Winter in Helsinki is serious business. Temperatures commonly dip below freezing for extended periods, and daylight becomes scarce. In December, the sun barely climbs above the horizon. The cold here feels different, cleaner somehow. Snow blankets the city in quiet layers, and they have this interesting system that they use, and it's a sauna culture is one of Helsinki's great responses to winter. The ritual of stepping from icy into intense dry heat, and sometimes even plunging into near freezing water creates a rhythm that turns cold from an enemy into something that's refreshing. So they do have a spa by me, and I haven't gone in a while, but you can go from a cold plunge to a hot sauna to a cold, I don't know, a warmer jacuzzi, and then they have a dry sauna. There's hot and dry saunas. And some studies show that that is actually very healthy for your body. It's like a detox. So that is something that they do in Helsinki. All right, now we're just crossing over, skipping over Sweden, skipping over Norway, skipping over Iceland, and again, because that's the modifying effect of the ocean, and we're going into Canada. So Ottawa is the capital and the coldest national capital in the Americas. Winters here are long and snowy with January temperatures around 14 degrees Fahrenheit or negative 10 degrees Celsius. Cold snaps can send thermometers plunging much lower, especially when Arctic air sweeps down from the north. Snowfall is heavy and reliable. The Rideau Canal, which snakes through the city, freezes solid and transforms into the world's largest skating rink. People commute on skates. That's not a winter gimmick. It's daily life when conditions are right. Government buildings, and I've been in the government buildings in Ottawa, by the way, stand stoically along Parliament Hill, often dusted in snow, looking over the Ottawa River. So a big thing that Canada is known for is hockey. So they have the perfect conditions for hockey, ice hockey. And that's another adaptation that the people of Canada did, is to incorporate it. So instead of fighting it, it's kind of like going along with it. Now we're going back to Iceland, Reykjavik. So this is a surprising one. So Reykjavik sits far north, just below the Arctic Circle, but thanks to the Gulf Stream, it's not as brutally cold as you expect. So again, this is the modification. What the Gulf Stream is, it brings warm water up from the Atlantic. It's like oceans are big conveyor belts that bring heat up and down and cold up and down. And Iceland sits on that. Winter temperatures hover around 30 degrees Celsius. 30 degrees Fahrenheit, -1 Celsius. That's cold, but not like Ulaanbaatar. So, what they have is geothermal. They have a lot of like lagoons that are warm, and they use geothermal energy because it's from volcanoes and geysers, and that actually heats up the city. But don't be fooled. My friends went, Andrea and Anya went in November, and the wind was so strong, so it might be 30 degrees, but it feels like -15 and wind gusts of 50 miles per hour. So it's still cold. So just wrapping it up, geography does really matter. High latitude, elevation, continental interiors, and Arctic air masses all play roles in shaping these extreme cold climates. But I will say, the thing about traveling when it's cold, it's packing is annoying, but I would like to maybe go to one of these cities for like a couple of days and then, see how it is. I also kind of want to see like, what does -40 feel like? We here had -15 wind chill, but imagine like -40. It would be interesting to feel that way. Okay, so now that we're done with that, let's get into our trivia. And it's funny, some of these things like we talked about in previous episodes. How many time zones are there across Africa? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 6. In which country would you find the holy city of Mecca? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that is Saudi Arabia. Okay. In which sport might one see a matador? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that is bullfighting, which I don't think is nice. Okay, I want to thank you, and remember, if you know geography, you know anyone. Ciao, travelers.